Dr. Gregory Jantz is a best-selling author of over 45 books and the founder of the Center A Place of Hope, voted a top 10 center for depression treatment in the U.S. As the pioneer of whole-person care, Dr. Jantz is known as the messenger of hope. Now the nation's expert on anxiety, depression, substance abuse, relationships, trauma, and PTSD, here is Dr. Gregory Jantz.
Hi, it's Dr. Greg Jantz. Have you ever had anybody in your life, and I have to tell you, even as a counselor, I have, who's no matter what you do, you're always in conflict with them. There's always an issue, there's always conflict, and they seem bent on always having a point of disagreement. There are people, though, that we have conflict with, and we need to learn how to have healthy resolution in that conflict. And that's what I'm going to share about today. There are those that have, whether it's addiction in their life that's driving them to be a point of conflict and defensiveness, or a personality disorder that is such that they are carrying with them a lot of personality issues that always place them in conflict with others. But we have, as human beings, normal conflict between folks, and I've written about conflict resolution for years, because really, when we boil it all down, what we have is the health of our relationships. When everything else is gone, I remember having a conversation with my wife that, sweetheart, really what we have is it's our relationships. That's the greatest value, and the greatest value in healthy relationships. And healthy relationships may and do have conflict. I've written about how to deal with toxic people who are those that could be conflict generators, conflict perpetuators, and just generally toxic people. There are those out there, and there are those, no matter what you do, you can't resolve anything with them. They're not interested. All right. But let's talk about, and I've got some great notes today to share with you, resolving conflict in a healthy way, because we're going to have it. And, conflict, it could be in the workplace, could be at home, could be with a relative, could be with a friend. It could be even in a situation where there's been an exchange or a purchase, and there's conflict that resulted out of that. A person who bought something and it wasn't what it was supposed to be, and conflict emerges. But a balanced, and keyword, balanced and fulfilled life means we need to have some skills how to resolve fundamental, basic conflicts that come about every day. And if we don't believe it's true, then we live in denial, and we find ourselves dealing with other issues. We either deal with conflict or it deals with us. And I'm going to say through disease, through addiction, through anger, through resentment, conflict will deal with us. If we try to deflect, deny, it will ultimately then destroy us. Now, I do know that conflict can create a wound and stress that is so difficult to even put in words. A betrayal, a broken trust in a relationship, so you've been betrayed. That's an emotional pain. That's a conflict that's hard to even understand and put in words. I certainly hear that, and I know that that is true, and I know the pain of conflict that is from a betrayal in a relationship, a broken trust, is some of the most difficult emotions to ever walk through, work through, and deal with. All right. So what do healthy problem solvers look like? Did we have a mentor or a person in our life that really showed us, hey, here's a healthy problem solver. Here's a person that goes about their life doing the best of their ability to live at peace with others, and they're good at resolving conflict. You know anybody like that? Did we ever have a class in grade school on how to resolve conflict? Right. So we learned it from others, or we didn't learn it. And here's a few of the characteristics I want to share in our brief time that we have together. What is a characteristic of a healthy problem solver? And I actually put this list together at a time in my life when I had an enormous amount of conflict with one person that kept coming up over and over and over. And it just brought me to a place, a lot of times, of personal despair and despondency. It was so much conflict, and no matter what, that conflict could not be resolved. And it wasn't because I wasn't trying. I was. So you can't always resolve conflict, and it can take you in a painful place. I've had that experience. So I decided to the best of my ability, I'm going to live as a healthy problem solver. I'm just going to try to model this and do this. I don't want to go through this again. And I know when it's time to let go of a situation or a person who may be toxic. That's why we wrote the book, Toxic People. I understand that. Okay, so number one, here's a principle that I wrote down, again, years ago through personal experiences. Resolve to solve the problem and not to win. We have to give up the need to be right. If we only want to win when there's conflict, we haven't given up the need to be right. And do I need to be right, or do I just need to resolve whatever the issue is? That doesn't mean denying the importance of your feelings. That doesn't mean pretending that this isn't at all important. But I have to decide, okay, am I so invested in having to be right, having to have the final word, that indeed what happens is I don't resolve anything because I'm always got to be the person that's right. So I want to look at, okay, respect of another human being, even if I have a hard time respecting their position, what they've done or said, I've got to look at, okay, what is the real issue or problem here? And can we resolve that? And are there times where we actually do say in a relationship that, I have a difference of opinion, but I really do value our relationship. And I want to have a healthy relationship with you. And I understand we have a difference of opinion. Can we do that? Sometimes it comes to that. And other times you cannot have a healthy relationship, so that's not going to happen. So, it's kind of like I don't have to win every war. Okay, and sometimes we see it as that, as a war. Number two, and I'm going to walk through these fairly quickly. What I love about doing this is that I really do value your time, and I know that there's so many different things you can listen to in podcasts. So let's just get to the points, take it and run with it, and change what we need to change and go on. Number two, face the problem. Okay, I've got to face whatever it is. Do I need to set up a specific time with this person, and with the intent of letting go of the need to be right, and just identifying, okay, what's the 3 areas of concern? Break it down very simply. Maybe you need to make a couple notes. The areas of concern are, and be able to articulate those. If you're carrying offenses, person said something to you and you're still carrying that offense, it's going to be hard to resolve a problem because there's unforgiveness. So we've got to go, okay, going into this, I've got to have a forgiving spirit. I can't let anger be the guide if I'm going to try to solve a problem. I can't let hurt blur my vision and have resentments and think I'm going to resolve a problem. So go in, I'm an initiator of forgiveness. I'm going to have I don't mean that you're going to have it all figured out and forgiven, but I'm going to have a spirit of initiating. I'm an initiator of forgiveness. I would say so often it's really easy to avoid whatever the problem really is. It can be the elephant in the room that we all know is there, but we're avoiding it. And sometimes when we call out what is the problem, we want to do that without creating a lot of blame. And blame can throw us down a path of great defensiveness. If you feel blamed, you put all your guard up, you're ready to fight, it puts you on the offensive, and you're ready to go for it. Let's just do a real life example. Let's say it's a parent and you're concerned about constant gaming, or you're concerned about technology. And so you've identified the problem. You now are sitting down with that son or daughter, and you are going to talk to them about the problem. And you've probably felt like you've talked about it so many times. Every time you talk about it, it creates conflict. It creates feelings that are intense, and you find that you get overwhelmed with emotion. So here we are. We're going to try to talk about it again. So affirming the person, going, I love and care about you so much. And is it okay if we talk about my observations? Oh, I know what you're going to say, Mom or Dad. And Kate, because we've got to break down barriers in order to reach in. Because really what I want to communicate is I want that other person, that son or daughter, to know the concern and care of my heart. Got to be careful about my words, but I want them to hear my heart. And so they're going to need, probably if it's difficult, a lot of affirmation, not dancing around the topic, but affirmation of their value to you. When a person feels valued, they're going to be more open to receiving feedback. And I think it is okay to be bold and say, here's what I really believe the issue is. I believe it creates conflict for us. I don't like that. And when I see you on whatever it is, the technology, and it's extended time, and I see you lose sleep, and I see that it doesn't appear like you're taking good care of yourself, and I just am watching how this appears to be affecting you. I love you so much. I just want to talk to you about this. And what do you see? Be careful about yes or no. It's like, as a parent, you want to be right, but what do you see? As I share my concerns, tell me what you see. Find a common bridge of communication, and sometimes we try to resolve things really quick in one quick 10-minute conversation, and it may be, okay, I'm going to think about some things. Can we talk about this again tomorrow? So keeping the conversation alive. Saying things like, I'm the parent, I know what's best for you, and give me that phone, is probably not going to build a bridge of value, a bridge that I love and honor you. It's going to feel immediately like kids are very sensitive to punishment, and they'll quickly go into, you're punishing me, and that's not your intent at all, but that's how it can be interpreted. So just an example there. Face the problem. Number 3, got to be open to unique solutions. Flexibility is the key when we try to resolve things, and allowing time for things to be processed. So unique solutions. Usually when I perceive I have a problem, I probably have an ideal way I think it's got to be resolved, but I've got to be open to different opinions and trying different things in order to resolve that. And also we need to understand we don't always have the best solution. That's number 3. Number 4, be clear on boundaries. We become really heated, and we can say things we regret as we're trying to work through a problem. No behaviors like name calling. Oh man, if it resorts to name calling, a boundary might be, I'm sorry, this isn't going well. I am so sorry. Let's just hold right now, and let's come back and revisit this. And be willing to pull out of. You may have a kid that, or an adult even, who they're not respecting that. They're wanting to follow you right down the hall and keep chewing on your ear and feeling like emotional abuse and attacking you. Be big enough to go, let's come back to this. So intensity, that is anger, name calling, put downs, is going to create usually regret. We regret saying certain things. We regret, outcomes because they're not usually good. So, all right, number 5, forgive yourself and others. And be able to say, okay, I can see when I said that to you, that was hurtful. I can tell you it wasn't my intent or my heart, but I can see it was. Will you please forgive me? Remember, in conflict, our goal is to remove boundaries. Will you please forgive me? So keep removing those defenses, and will you please forgive me is a great way to keep moving barriers, keep moving things in a different direction. It changes the tone of the air when we use those words and really mean it. I'm sorry. And sometimes we don't have to fully understand. And if they say they were hurt, I'm going to say, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Really, please forgive me. I'd like to keep working on this, and I don't want you to feel like that I've created you pain. So, okay. Number 6, accept that life isn't always fair. There's things that are going to happen you cannot fix. And there could be multiple problems. Try resolving one at a time. The kitchen sink approach, where you start throwing one thing leads to the next, to the next, and the next. And maybe you're with a person that's a really good historian, and they remember everything you said and did, and they can remember what you were wearing 10 years ago. So one issue at a time. If you need to jot notes of things you need to talk about later, do. But when we have a success of one issue at a time, that great success breeds other successes, and we can keep doing that. Now, here's another just attitude I like to take as I'm working on an issue. I am picturing and I am anticipating that we're going to have a positive outcome, even though I don't see it, and that I'm going to have a deeper, better, healthier relationship with this other person. I'm going to do whatever I need to do. I'm really going to do my best to listen and not judge, but I'm going to have a great relationship with this person. All right. Just anticipating that positive outcome. And then finally, I just want to mention, believe in your ability to solve the problem. What do you mean? Well, you can be a healthy problem solver. Believe in your ability to solve it. It may not be done in one session or one time or one attempt. But if we just say, no, there's no way we'll ever resolve this, we're so different, that's not a hope-filled position. And it can also be taken as a put down. Oh, we're so different. We're never going to resolve this. And the other person can feel that and perceive that as a judgment. So, all right. Believing in positive outcomes. Practicing forgiveness. And sometimes we've got to do things and extend ourselves in a way that we wish we didn't have to in order to have that peace in the relationship, have that resolution. It's amazing when we carry with us an attitude and a spirit of cooperation and have a clean heart, even though maybe we've been deeply wounded, but we've already gone into the situation as an initiator of forgiveness. Just the tone that can create. Life is full at times of conflict. Our goal is to minimize unresolved conflict. Do this without bringing in a spirit of blame. Do this without carrying an arsenal of attack words. And also, to the best of your ability, say, I'm going to live at peace with others and do whatever it is to the best of my ability. You see, I had a person that I was in conflict with that actually I could have, I know now, done a lot more to bring about resolution. The person in my life that I was in conflict with actually ended up dying And it was because the person died, but I had kept postponing, avoiding. And that, I had made a decision. I will never allow that to happen again. To the best of my ability, I'm going to be bold, I'm going to be courageous, and I'm going to deal with conflict, and I'm going to be big enough to understand sometimes I can't resolve everything, and I can't spend all my energy trying to get them to understand my point of view and agree with me. That's not what it's about. It's not about winning. It's about problem solving and being big enough to go, okay, I value this relationship. We have some differences and they may be significant, but I am going to help, to the best of my ability, help that person feel valued and cared about and be a good, healthy problem solver. Just carrying some of these principles with us, you'll be amazed. I'm also, and this is just me, but I'm prayerful before I approach a situation. And my prayer is a prayer of wisdom, that I would have the wisdom to know what I need to know and the wisdom to use the right words and have the right attitude and approach. A prayer of wisdom. All right, let's all work together to be, we need more of these, a healthy problem solver.